A chef arrives in Spain to meet his old friend. His friend is also a chef, living a luxurious life, but he's very depressed because of his job. The next day, he commits suicide, and the chef decides to steal his identity to start working for his friend's clients. Soon, he realizes that his friend's clients do a shady and sadistic business that involves preparing fancy meals of human meat for incredibly rich people. Now, he starts looking for a way out, not knowing only death is the way out. The movie opens with Ryan, a seasoned chef, arriving in Spain to meet his old friend Jack. Ryan fled from America because he owes money to a party named Rabbit. Ryan gets escorted to Jack's house, and it's a luxurious mansion. At night, Jack arrives and greets Ryan. Jack is also a chef, and they both studied in a culinary school together ages ago. They catch up, and Jack reveals that this isn't his house. Rather, it belongs to the agency he works for. Jack further mentions that he gets to travel to a lot of places for the job. He's asked to live at different mansions for a few weeks prior to get familiar, find good produce, and leave after the gig. Ryan is starstruck about how awesome Jack's job is and wishes to be his sous chef. Jack, however, isn't very pleased with his job. In the morning, they head into the city for lunch, where they notice a single woman in the restaurant who joins them for drinks. Her name is Alice, and she is a tourist who likes traveling alone. They all head back to Jack's mansion, where they both make risottos for Alice, and after tasting them, Alice names Ryan the better chef. After dinner, Ryan wears Jack's watch as a prank, but Alice doesn't get the joke, so Jack explains how Ryan lost his watch to him in a game 15 years ago, and Jack still wears it. Later, Alice and Jack get drunk and decide to sleep together. In the morning, Ryan meets Jack, who just dropped off Alice back to her hotel room. Jack tells Ryan to hang at his place for the day while he goes out for work, which is to search for produce for his cooking. Now, Ryan roams in the mansion and goes through Jack's laptop. He looks into his bank account and realizes Jack is a millionaire, and afterwards quickly deletes the search history. Jack returns home at night and sits by the pool with Ryan. He tells him that he works around very poor people to please his rich clients, and it has really hurt his soul and made him hate this world. The next morning, Ryan looks for Jack and realizes Jack committed suicide. He gets shocked and thinks for a moment what to do now. He plans to steal Jack's identity and breaks into his computer. He tries to log into his bank account, but the passwords are gone. He calls the bank that is in the UK and pretends to be Jack, asking for Jack's account passwords and PINs. The banker informs him that he has to walk into their bank with some identification, like a driver's license. Otherwise, they can't share the passwords. Ryan now decides to make a fake UK's driver license, which appears identical to Jack's license card. Meanwhile, Ryan gets a threat from Rabbit, is stalking Ryan's mom, and demands an extra $50,000. At night, he drags Jack's body to the lake and drowns it. In the morning, Rabbit now demands Jack to pay their money by tomorrow, otherwise, his mom's gone. Jack arrives back at the mansion and realizes Jack's overseers from his agency have arrived. The woman is Imogen, and her colleague is Maurice. Ryan pretends to be Jack, but they don't recognize him because they hadn't met Jack prior. They ask Ryan about the produce, and he lies, saying it's in good shape. Ryan requests Imogen for $50,000 in advance, and she agrees to wire him the money. Ryan quickly pays off Rabbit and saves his mom. Imogen now asks Ryan how his preparation for tomorrow's dinner is coming along, but Ryan confesses that he hasn't selected the produce yet. Imogen is confused because the agency sent Jack weeks ago to prepare the produce. They take Ryan to the local town in search of their produce. Imogen tells Ryan that they will need 2 people for the dinner, but Ryan is confused. He doesn't realize that the agency serves human dishes to rich people who are secretly cannibals. She reminds Ryan that if he makes one bad dish, then they will end his life. She tells Ryan to return tomorrow morning and find 2 people with Maurice. At night, Ryan runs into Imogen, who explains how their agency runs their business. She tells him that they only kill 75 people per year and generate $1.5 million per dinner. Their average earning per year is $100 million, but they also give back 10% of the profit to the communities. The next morning, Maurice and Ryan return to the local town church. Ryan chooses an old woman and her daughter for the dinner. They both stalk them in their cars and follow them into their home area. There, The duo looks around for the ladies, but they come across a young man named Jose. They both decide to take him instead and lure him into checking out their car. Maurice tells Jose to check under the car for anything strange, while Ryan turns on the car. Jose doesn't find anything strange, but Maurice quickly shoots him. Suddenly, a cop arrives, so Maurice hides Jose. The two ladies they were stalking brought Officer Gallo, suspecting they were chasing them. Maurice spins a lie that they are investors and are scouting the area to build a hotel. Maurice introduces Ryan as an architect and hands Officer Gallo his business card. They safely escape with Jose in the back now and arrive back in the mansion. They take Jose to the basement, where Ryan is to cut Jose since the dinner is in 5 hours. After Ryan is done, Maurice lights up the pressure cooker to boil the remnants of Jose for disposal. Ryan's fake driver's license arrives, which he quickly compares with Jack's card, and they are identical. Ryan now quickly tries to escape with his luggage and drives off in Jack's old car. He runs into a gardener and crashes the car. Maurice checks up on Ryan and realizes Ryan is trying to escape, so he informs him that only death is an escape from this job. He mentions there was one chef named Greta who managed to escape. She didn't ask for any compensation for her job, but demanded a meeting with the agency. 1 month after the meeting, Maurice received an email from Greta mentioning she works as a private chef for a rich family now, and he never heard from her again. Ryan is now locked in and lists down Imogen the 4-course meals he'll be making for the guests. Imogen mentions the guests have requested a tongue as well, so Ryan decides to serve it as dessert. At night, Maurice drops the first guests at their mansion and returns to the airport for the others. Imogen gets informed that 2 cops have arrived, Officer Gallo and Detective Ruiz. They want to meet Maurice and question him about his nephew, Jose, who's missing. Imogen mentions Maurice will arrive late, so Officer Gallo mentions Ryan, so they question him. They show Ryan Jose's picture, but Ryan lies, saying he's never seen him. Ruiz finds it odd that Ryan is cooking, despite being informed he's an architect. He asks Ryan some architecture questions, and realizes Ryan is very amateur at it. Ruiz insists on waiting for Maurice, so Imogen offers them to taste the Jose soup. Ruiz apologizes for putting his phone on charging, while Imogen steps outside with Ryan for a word and wonders why he's fumbling. She reminds him that whenever police are involved, they have to pretend to be either property development, movie production, or tourism. She tells him to act like an actual architect now, otherwise they will be exposed. Maurice now meets with the officers and tells them he hasn't seen Jose. Ruiz now decides to meet the guests and shows them the picture of Jose, but none of them know him. Ruiz decides to leave, but one of the guests, Mr. Nishiharta, requests the detective to join them for dinner. Imogen speaks with Nishiharta privately, where he reveals he invited the detective for fun because it pumps up the adrenaline. Imogen is worried about the other guests, so Nishiharta assures her that he'll handle them. Maurice informs Imogen that Jack has a guest, and she's insisting on meeting him. Imogen meets her, and it's Alice. Imogen brings Alice to Ryan, and Alice is confused to see him. Ryan mentions Jack left, so he's covering for him. Alice asks why the cops are here, and notices Ryan is cooking blood. Ryan forcefully sends her off, and she notices Ryan is wearing Jack's watch. She starts getting suspicious and quickly heads out. Her car doesn't start, so Maurice arrives to the rescue. Ryan now meets with Imogen and requests a meeting with the agency because he wants to quit like Greta. Imogen reveals Greta never left. They killed her, and she sent the email to Maurice. Ryan realizes he's trapped and understands now why Jack was depressed about this job. Ryan is now called out to the dinner table, where the guests love his food and praise his cooking, whereas Detective Ruiz only wants to know what meat he used. Ryan says it's pork, but Ruiz doubts it. Ryan excuses himself by saying he has to work on the tongue desert. He checks the tongue and realizes Jose has herpes, so they can't use his tongue. Alice walks in to ask them to call a taxi for her, since Maurice seems busy. Ryan now serves the tongue to everyone, and gives Ruiz a note telling him to meet him. Ruiz secretly meets him, and Ryan confesses about everything. Ruiz pukes when he realizes he ate his nephew. He decides to leave immediately and bids everyone goodbye. He goes outside and secretly meets Ryan in the basement, where he sees Alice's corpse, realizing they served Alice's tongue. Ryan shows Ruiz the severed head of Jose, so Ruiz decides to call in for backup, but he forgot his phone inside. Ryan quickly heads out to retrieve it while the guests depart. Back in the basement, Maurice attacks Ruiz with a chainsaw and slays him. Ryan arrives in the basement and finds Ruiz dead. Maurice asks Ryan to help him dispose of the corpses, while Imogen writes an email to Ruiz's sister, pretending to be him. The next morning, Imogen informs Ryan's next job will be in Africa. So they inject Ryan with a nano-tracker to keep eyes on him and send him off to the UK, where Jack used to live. At the airport bar, Ryan meets a man named Barry, who seems miserable but gets fascinated when Ryan tells him about his job. Barry gets starstruck like Ryan got when he heard about Jack's job and the perks he was getting. He wishes to be like Ryan, whereas Ryan is now depressed like Jack, and the cycle continues. The movie ends here. I hope you liked the story recap. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Thank you for being a part of Black's Movie Recaps. If these tales of mystery and intrigue sent shivers down your spine, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Black's Movie Recap for more bone-chilling narratives. Stay tuned, and until next time, stay captivated.